What's up, everybody? Haven't been on live in a while, so I figured I'd tune in. I was actually gonna do a YouTube tutorial on this. I'm still going to, but as you can see right behind me, my NSP fisherman is sitting here in the lawn. We spent some time on the water together today, but what happened is the other day I went across some seashells and got a small little hole in the side, so wanted to walk through some tips here on how to repair these things, because they do happen. They're really bomber. I love these boards. Inflatables are probably the most durable board I've ever had, and I'm super hard on equipment, and but things happen. And so last week on the Gulf Coast, I dragged my board across the seashell and it put a little hole in it. Not a big deal, so we're just gonna take all the pieces together and get a repair going. So right now, to start off, I have my orange kit. I don't know if you guys can hear me with the wind nuking like it is, but this lovely orange kit comes with all of our inflatable stuff, and inside is the patch. So we're gonna take that stuff, and if you can see right here, I'll switch it around. I put a little black mark on this spot, and right now it's a little bit hard. I'm gonna let the air out to do the full repair, but that is what we do. So there's a couple ways to get this whole thing going. If you've never repaired an inflatable, it's really not that hard. It sounds a little overwhelming in the beginning, but pretty straightforward. The easiest thing I would recommend to do is take your board back to the water, put it in there, look for bubbles. Once you see the bubbles, then find where it's going, and sometimes you might have to just bring your board back to shore, flip it over, put your finger on it, and then I took a just black Sharpie, circled the spot, and that's what we have here. So there's other options if you don't have the access to the water. Let's say it's wintertime or something of that nature. Soapy water is the best. So if you take like an old spray bottle and put some diluted soapy water in there, you can spray it on, and all of a sudden it will full on bubble up, and that'll give you the spot of where your hole is. So the next step here, once now we have it marked, we're gonna go ahead, and I use, just to clean everything, there's On It Pro makes a rad solution called Blue Goo. It's super low impact on the environment and on the board, so I swear by this. Eric and his team over there has been an awesome company, so I use this stuff, and I'm just going to clean the area to make sure I get a good stick. And then once the patch is cut and placed, sadly I won't be able to use my board for 24 hours. So that's the only downfall of this whole process, but we're going to go through it, and I want to post all this as well as a video afterwards on how to do this, because I think it's just one of those things that we easily forget. So I apologize for not commenting back if you guys don't hear from me, but I'm just going to go ahead and get to work a little bit. So I'm just taking a little bit of this Blue Goo, placing it on there, and then we'll just slowly clean the area. And the reason you clean the area well is so that you can get the patch to stick, because if the patch doesn't stick, then all of this is an effort of futility. So we want to have that patch sticking and applied here. I'll turn you an angle so you can see a little bit better. You can also roughen up the area with some sandpaper, but I just thoroughly clean it. You can see almost my black circles coming off now, which is the toughest part about this. It's almost on the seam, so you want to be really careful when it's on the seam, because that makes it really hard. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, I'll just walk you through real quick. So you can see the black dot right there is the seam. So I want to keep my patch off that seam because it won't get a good seal. So the hole is right here where my fingertip is. You can see that little bubble, and right down there is the seam. So my patch will actually probably stop right at this black line, and just enough to cover the area. If it was in the middle, I'd probably make a little bigger patch, but like I said, just having that seam, it makes it a little bit difficult because then it gives you air and everything. So there we go, the spot has been cleaned, and now again I opened up this little orange canister which has a lovely name, repair kit, and it comes with a few things. Piece 1, pretty self-explanatory. Piece 2 is inside here. This is the magic maker. The patches, you get a couple of round patches. And the third piece I'm actually going to explain, and I had to do some research on this myself. So this gray handle, many of us don't know what it is, and it comes with all our inflatable kits. What it actually is for is you can remove the valve on the back of an SUP. So where you inflate your board, let's say the valve stem goes and is no longer working, this tool will help you replace it. That's the only reason this thing is in there for. So I've used it to put on patches and a host of other lovely things, but that's what it's there for. So the next step is now to cut a patch, and I'm going to put you guys back here. I'll turn it around so you can see something. All right, so here's our patch. Make sure the two aren't stuck together. There's white and gray. Obviously I have a white and gray board, so we're gonna go with gray on the bottom. And you always want to try to keep it round if you can, because with it being round, that means you won't catch any corners. So if you have a square, then there's a chance a corner can lift up. So I'm not super talented with cutting, but we'll see if I can do the best at keeping this thing nice and round. So I cut fairly round. I'll probably tune up these little sides right here. All right, here we go. So that is my patch. As you can see, I tried to make it as round as possible, again, so the corners don't rip up. The next piece I'm going to actually do here, I'm going to let some air out of the board, because if you put this on right now with full pressure, the glue will actually bubble, and so you won't get a good full seal. So I'm going to let some air out, which will make a loud, obnoxious noise for those of you that have done this numerous times. And then once the air starts to get out, then I'm going to go ahead and put this lovely patch on. And then once the patch is on, it sits for 24 hours. So here we go. Couple more steps and we're almost done. All right. So here it is. As you can see, the air went out pretty quick. There was actually, I put it in this morning, I put about 12 psi, and even after 4 hours of fishing, there's still over 10 psi. So even this leak wasn't super draining of all the air, which was nice. So if you ever wonder about that stuff, I actually, when I had this happen, I was on the island down in Fort Myers for the weekend, and I noticed a hole on Saturday morning, and I actually could still use my board until Sunday morning. So it held air for 24 hours, which is pretty good to know that if you ever were getting a pinch, you could still paddle for quite some time. So now you can see the air is pretty much out. I just sat down here, and so we'll switch over. And there it is. So now there's a little less air in the board, and all that's going to do is allow me to put this patch on without everything bubbling up and down. So I'm going to clean it one more time, just do a little once over to make sure everything's good. Again, I use the On It Pro Blue Goo. They also make an awesome inflatable cleaner. There's my scissors from cutting the patch. And now here it is, and it's got the full directions. It tells you everything, what to do, how to apply it, and also if you ever have questions, these things are just like a Zodiac, so most boat dealers will be able to help you out whether you're inland or if you're on the coast. So lots of avenues here. So all right, here we go. Apologize if foam falls over. I'm going to put a little dab down and start to set my patch. Just one thing to keep in mind, if you are doing this, try to do it outside, because even though this little glue, it's pretty gnarly. So all right, sorry I lost you there for a minute, but here we're back, and I have placed the lovely patch. So that is an inflatable repair. You can do it simply out in, if you're out paddling and all of a sudden you get a hole, but unless you're paddling for 24 hours, I would say, or if it's a gaping hole, you most likely continue to paddle. So like I said, I paddled on this board this morning, and then was out for 3-4 hours in the water and felt it getting soft, but not dangerous soft, and came back here and just put the patch on. So it'll sit for 24 hours. So tomorrow afternoon it'll be water ready. So most likely I'll let it sit until Monday morning, and then it's on. So yeah guys, just wanted to say hello and run you through a little bit of what happens when we are a little bit too hard on our equipment, because that's part of life. And hope everybody's awesome and having a great weekend. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and I'm gonna put this on YouTube as well, so you guys can check out kind of what we did here and go from there. So all right guys, we'll see you soon. Talk to you.